We're at stage 13 of the 2003 Tour de France. We've got a day in the Pyrenees ahead of the riders as they approach the final few mountain challenges. Today, they face back-to-back Category 1 climbs, with a finish at the top of A Three Domains. We fast forward ahead to that final climb, to the solo leader on the road, Carlos Sastre, looking for CSC's second stage win of the Tour. He's the lone survivor of the day's breakaway, attacking them with 6 kilometers left, motivated by his family being there. There were so many relatives and friends of mine standing along the last climb. They traveled over 1,000 kilometers to see me here today, and their support affected my performance today. The knowledge of them being here gave me the extra motivation and strength I needed to last during the final kilometers. Behind, Roberto Harris is again leading the GC group, and all the contenders are still there, but then it starts to whittle down. First to drop is Tyler Hamilton, the brave New Englander, still struggling through injury. Then it's Iban Mayo that starts to lose time, the Euskaltel rider unable to keep the tempo. There's just 6 riders left now, and Carlos Sastre is somewhere up ahead, hoping that he has enough time in hand. Heimar Zubeldia attacks the contenders group, and Ulrich follows, the first move he's made in the mountains this tour. Vinokourov follows as well. It takes a few seconds, but Armstrong does catch up, diving on the inside of Vino in a corner for no reason. Now Ulrich picks up the tempo, taking the fight directly to Lance, sitting on his wheel. Then he eases up, and there's just 4 men fighting for the GC now. Zubeldia goes again, and Vino goes. He gets a real gap this time, his gold chain bouncing off his chest. Ulrich chases after, and separates from Armstrong in the process. This next moment happens in the blink of an eye. Ulrich catches Vinokourov and then keeps going, and Vino holds on. Zubeldia is close behind, but Armstrong has been dropped, suddenly behind Ivan Basso. Armstrong is completely on the defense, and Ulrich is the aggressor, flipping roles that have been established for years. This is the best Ulrich has ever looked, as he drops Vinokourov and continues on. Sastre will take the stage win, putting a pacifier in as he crosses the line. One of the most iconic victory salutes in Tour history. I always carry something that belongs to my daughter with me. Her name is Claudia, and she'll be 2 years old soon. Sometimes the stress of racing and all the people around it gets to me in a bad way, and it is the thought of her and my family that keeps me sane. Her presence also works as a reminder of what is important in life, and it prevents me from taking stupid risks, like getting myself killed on a descent. Zubeldia has made his way up to Ulrich in the final kilometer, but Armstrong still hasn't. He does hold the final time loss to just 7 seconds, but the gap overall is just 15. Quote, "I'm tired, but I think everybody's tired. Today was a hard day. After the effort of yesterday, I expended a lot yesterday. The fact of the matter is that I started Saturday at probably 72.5 kilograms and finished the time trial at 66.5 kilograms, so something definitely went wrong. With dehydration like that, 1, you can't do a maximum effort, and 2, you can't recover in 1 day." Ulrich was confident. Quote, "We didn't expect to see a sign of weakness from Armstrong, but now we have a better idea of his real form. What we did today is what we have to carry on doing every day." Perhaps more interestingly is the opinion of the rest of the field. Ulrich's longtime former director at Telecom put it even more frankly. Quote, "Jan is the #1 candidate to win the Tour." With 4 Category 1 climbs and 2 Category 2s, Stage 14 is either up or down, no in between. For the first time in the Tour, Ulrich's Bianchi squad had to work on the front to bring back the day's breakaway. That break contained over 10 riders at one point, including members of Armstrong's USPS team. There's just 3 men left in the break now: Laurent Dufaux, Richard Vorenke, and Gilberto Simoni. Simone, of course, had come to France in hopes of doing the Giro Tour double, and it has gone incredibly poorly. Today, he's hunting for redemption. Back in the main pack, Iban Mayo attacks. Lance and the rest are happy to let Ulrich be on the front here in the chase, to try and put some pressure on him. But guess who attacks again? It's a swashbuckling Vinokourov, currently sitting third overall. Ulrich still leads the group for now, but Lance will have to chase soon, since he only has a minute lead over Vino. But they all keep waiting around, as the Paris-Nice winner continues pulling ahead. Meanwhile, the break just has a 15-second advantage over the chasers, with Simone leading now. Behind them, the situation continues to be Vino and Mayo, then Ulrich, Zubeldia, Armstrong, and Basso, whose form keeps improving. Lance is out of the saddle far more than usual, perhaps another sign of how he's feeling. As Vino crests the climb, we start counting the time gap. It's about 45 seconds. It's not enough for him to take yellow, but it's a significant amount of time. With just 1 kilometer left, the lead group has become 4 men strong, and the sprint for the stage win begins. On the inside line, showing the form that won him the Giro, is Simone, taking the win. I was very clear in my mind this morning that I wanted to win this stage. My team manager came up to me yesterday and told me to go home. He thought I'd be better off at home instead of being dropped on every climb here. I said I didn't want to go. There's something in my character that prevents me from giving up, so I told him that I really wanted to go on with the race. Even if I'm having a bad day, I still want to fight. A winner is someone who doesn't give up, someone who thinks that if today wasn't good, tomorrow must be better. Meanwhile, Vino did gain back even more time and feels great. Quote, "I'm gaining confidence with each stage. As long as there's juice left in my legs, I'll keep attacking." Lance also admits he's not in great form. Quote, "If you look at the times on Alpe d'Huez, that's 4 minutes slower. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that guy is not as strong as he was 2 years ago. Something is not clicking." Tomorrow has 3 iconic climbs. At this point, there are 3 main contenders left. Vinokourov, the fighter, fully announcing his arrival on the world stage. Ulrich, rediscovering himself and his innate talent. Armstrong, looking for his 5th Tour win, facing a battle unlike any he's had before. We jump to the final climb, just in time to see Vino struggling early here, chasing back with a teammate after what must have been a mechanical. Meanwhile, Basso attacks, but is quickly brought back by the rest of the usual suspects: Ulrich, Lance, Mayo, Zubeldia, and Hamilton. They start to take off their helmets, something that's allowed on a mountaintop finish. Fast forwarding to just past 10 kilometers to go, and Iban Mayo has attacked, Armstrong following, and Ulrich is after them. This is the last mountain battle the Tour will have this year. Armstrong goes past Mayo, finally on the offensive, something we haven't yet seen. Mayo and Ulrich are closing in, not fast, but closing. They're on the right side of the road, close to the fans. Armstrong is out of the saddle, dancing side to side. Remember how anything can happen in the Tour? A spectator, holding a musette bag from the caravan that tours in front of the race, is cheering. The strap of the bag gets tangled in Armstrong's handlebars, and he's suddenly on the ground, taking Mayo with him. But Ulrich manages to avoid it. Now Ulrich faces a decision. He could go now and take advantage, and he would almost certainly end up winning the Tour. Would his honor and respect be gone? Yes, but he will have won the Tour. If he waits, he's a man of virtue and honor, but he will lose the Tour. He waits. It was correct that when Armstrong crashed, I didn't attack, because cycling is a fair play sport. Hamilton also appears and makes his way to the front to signal everyone to slow down. Quote, "I didn't feel like other guys were waiting, so it was my responsibility to go up front and tell them to slow down and wait a few seconds." Armstrong rejoins the group, and a few moments later he attacks, not in anger, but in desperation. Quote, "I knew I needed to make the race today, to put time into Jan before the final time trial. He storms up the climb, leaving Ulrich to chase. Ulrich is getting absolutely no help, even though there's 2 riders from Euskaltel here. Through the mist, Armstrong ascends to an emotional stage victory, and finally extends his lead in the Tour, now with 1 minute and 7 seconds in hand over Ulrich. After a performance like this, some are already throwing in the towel. With Armstrong, we have found once more the champion of the past years. When he's in this sort of form, there's nothing to be done. It's stage 16, the last mountain stage of the Tour. The GC has no changes today. What matters is the performance of one man. For over 90 kilometers today, Tyler Hamilton is solo on the front. This is a man suffering physically from many things, including the crash. Quote, "It was constant, numb. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was 10. Now it's 7 or 8. On my bike, I get sharp pains, and every bump, I can feel it. When I put pressure on it, it tells me to stop. I work with the pain, and that's how I go about my daily life. Accepting the pain has turned into part of my daily routine. In my opinion, it's better to accept it and not resist it. If you resist it, it's even harder." There's something incredibly Puritan and New England about this, about trudging on through the pain, because there's simply no other option. It's penance, in a way. This is Ascendant, an ode to human capability when he wins the stage, one that leaves everyone impressed. This is, for the time being, the defining moment of his career. In the next episode, the return of the sprinters, a grand showdown, and was any of this even real?